So let's continue. Let's, for example, see how you can select forms. We are going to add element equals to document dot forms and send this value to the console. You can see that we have only one form, which is this one. And for example, we can access some of these values. So in JavaScript, you will have access to all the different attributes. If we expand this or inspect this, you can see that this form has a search, a method, a class, an action. You can access those values in JavaScript. So let's return to the console. You can see that it's returning only one item, but it has the index of 0, so we need to copy that index. We need to access that index, which is going to be 0. Save this, and now you can see we have form action. We remove the HTML collection. So for example, let's say that you want to access that ID. It's going to be like this, the index 0. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to add .id, and it's going to print the ID. You can also print the method. Method is going to be post. If you change that to get, it's going to print get. And we also have the action. Save this, and you can see that the action is this pound sign, and this right here. If you open this, we make a search for action. You can see that we only have this pound sign. And what else? Let's add something like action. Then we have class list. Save this, and this is going to print the different classes. We only have this class called form, or you can also use that class name. Is going to print only the form. The class list is going to return this as DOM token list, which is really similar to an array. Class name is going to return this as a string. So in the class list, we can add class list in position 0, and this is going to print only the form. So you will have the same result as this example. So this is working nice. Let's say continue working. Let's review, for example, selector for all the images. Element equals document dot images. It's going to select all the different tags that or the elements that contains this IMG tag. So it's going to be like this. You can see that in this document we have 28 images in all the HTML. And what else? For example, the scripts. We can have something like elements equal to scripts like this, and you can see that we only have 3 scripts. One of these is Wapalizer, which is an extension that I have. This one is, you can see we have this data and WebSocket. This is by Light Server. And we only have this one, which is here on the top. If we scroll to the bottom and we find an attribute called OuterHTML, you can see that we have the link to the app.js. So this is going to be index 0. You can access this, for example, copy this and paste. And we're going to add the scripts 0. Then we're going to add get attribute, and we're going to pass the src like this. Save this, and you can see that we have JS and the file that is called app.js. If you open the index.html, you will find this on the bottom, JS app.js. So let's open again the app.js, and we're going to copy these images, and we're going to make a simple example, looping all the images. We're going to send these images to the console. And again, we have this HTML collection. We can access these values individually by adding the index, because the HTML collection is very similar to an array, but it's not an array. So we can make, for example, let images array, images array, and we can add an array that from the element, we can rename this to something like let images, and add images like this. So this is going to take the HTML collection and is going to convert this into an array. So if we copy and paste this right here, now you can see that we have opened this, and here at the bottom you can see that we have an array. So we took that HTML collection, and using this function we convert that collection into an array. I'm gonna remove this, and finally we can use the for each. For example, we can also use while or for any of the previous functions that we saw. I'm gonna use for each. Images array that for each. Then we run a function. We need to pass the name. It's going to be image. Of course, you can name this whatever you want. And I need to remove these parentheses. We only need one parenthesis there. The other one is going to be closing the statement that we have here. So we're gonna send this image to the console. So save this, and now you can see we have all the different images. If you wanna print this src, you can only add that src, and it's going to print all the sources of all the images. You can see they are right here. So of course I don't pretend that you memorize this. Programming is not about memorizing things. The idea here is that you always use document, and you have these dots to access all the properties. Also, you have these functions like get attribute, so we can access something like this. And we're gonna continue practicing in this course. In the next video, let's see other options that we have to select elements in JavaScript.